You're probably wondering, Chad, where are you? Like, this is not the setup. You guys are right. Oh my gosh. Good eye. Good eye, mate. Sorry, that had to. And why does it look like a disaster behind you? Well, I have moved finally because, guys, I finally graduated. And that's what's been going on, and that's why there's been a little hiatus from the pod. I'm gonna get into all the struggles of the move and just honestly the how brutal it is moving out in your 20s. But yeah, that's why it looks the way it is. That's why this is the setup. I don't think I'm going to keep this setup. I don't know. The kitchen could be cool. Who knows? Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Selfish. I think this is oh, this isn't a Sunday episode, but this is supposed to be a Thursday, but I'm late, of course. Today we're going to be talking about how hard it is to move out in your 20s and just all the intricacies of that and sort of how to deal with it, or at least how I'm attempting to deal with it, because there's just so many different issues. And, like, I'm not necessarily moving out for the first time ever. It's just that I was living in a dorm room for the past 6 years, and living in an apartment is quite different. So that's what we'll be chatting about today. I think the first thing that comes to mind when I think about, if you guys are watching the visualizer, to the audio listeners or people who are watching but are hard of sight, I am currently in a Dipper Pines, yes, Dipper Pines from Gravity Falls outfit right now. This is the case because I have just moved. There are clothes everywhere, honestly. And I wanted a hat because I have the most insane bed head right now. You will not be seeing it. So I grabbed the first hat I saw and I was like, well, why don't I just complete the outfit? So that's what we've got going on today. Welcome to Selfish. I'm your host, Dipper Pines, I guess. Let's get started with this episode. We're talking about how no one tells you how hard it is to move out in your 20s. Grab a drinky poo. I have an orange blossom latte that I crafted, iced. So grab a drink, grab your girls, grab your florals. You know the drill. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The first few nights here, were lonely as F. And I was really surprised by that for two reasons. The first reason being, I had been living in a dorm on my own for the past few years. I went home for a few summers, but for the most part, I have been on campus for the past 6 years, living alone. And I had never really felt lonely. There was an era where I felt lonely when literally all my friends went on exchange and I did not, because I was working at the time and it would have been a logistical nightmare. So when I got here and the first few nights, I was like feeling like beyond isolated. I was so confused. And the second reason why it's confusing that I felt lonely was because literally a 7-minute walk away is my cousin, like the cousin I'm closest to ever. So I'm just like, I was so confused. And I was like, oh my God, is this how I'm going to feel? Like, I really hope not, because first of all, the lease is for a whole year minimum. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't want to feel lonely. I have settled in now. And I think like what really was crazy is like things weren't set up. I didn't have like my cute lamps going. My desk and monitor weren't set up. That's a big part of who I am. I play video games. I'm dressed as Dipper Pines right now. Obviously, I play video games. So, yeah. But yeah, it didn't feel homey yet. And also just going from a dorm room to a 1-bedroom apartment is, first of all, so grateful. Do not take this the wrong way. But literally is just the case that it is a bigger space and it feels more vacant because it also is just me here. The last time I had my own bedroom, like I was living at home with family. And rarely was I like alone, you know what I mean? Or like there was just at least like the expectation that like, oh my gosh, yeah, my family will be here like in a couple hours or tomorrow, whatever. The way I coped with this though was definitely FaceTiming friends, family, hanging out with family. Like my cousin, like Tina, like she's been hanging out a bunch because literally we live 7 minutes away from each other. And that's been awesome. I really do feel amazing. Like as of where I am right now, it's been, I think 4 or 5 nights. High Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, that's what it felt like, guys. I literally felt like I was in the Five Nights at Freddy's warehouse and Chica was coming for my freaking rear. I was nervous. I feel way more at ease now. I feel less lonely. I actually don't feel lonely at all. I love it. And because here's the other crazy thing. I love having my own space. I don't like being, well, no, I do love living with people. Like, I love living with family. I've never lived with friends. I do want to eventually, like, I will later in my 20s. Maybe next year. Who freaking knows what happens. But I do love my own space, especially like being a content creator. Like, I'm freaking filming all the time. I'm talking all the time. I don't want people to get annoyed with me. And they will. I think another reason why it felt lonely and isolating at first is because I'm not living on campus, which is where I've lived for the last 6 years. And it's like, I know campus perfectly. I know every single like square inch of that freaking campus. And like adapting to a new area is weird. And also just like the thing with campus is like everyone's around your age. I was definitely freaking getting to the upper end of that range. Let's get serious. But everyone just generally is in like their early 20s, you know what I mean? And so that was hard to adapt to. Like, this is a whole new space, like geographically different area, demographically different people. Everything about it is like really different. And it's like, okay, well, I'm destined to feel like slightly off because the people I would see like on a normal basis, even if they're not my friends, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that person is always at this one cafe on campus. You know what I mean? Oh my God. Like, there's gonna be freaking like new baristas like that I'm getting to know. Okay. It's like a lot. I'm kind of overwhelmed actually, but it's fine. It's not loneliness anymore. It's like excitement about like what can be, all the new things. And anytime that I get like, oh my gosh, like I feel weird. I'm like, this is literally temporary. It's not like I bought this place. Relax. Move-in day was a logistical nightmare. Yeah, it was. And I had like a team helping me too. Like many, many family members were helping me during this move. And so the fact that it was as crazy as it was is my fault. Let's be honest. Not all of it though. But I had not. Okay. It was a busy time, guys. I had graduation. There were birthdays. There was like a lot happening. So my packing was a little bit delayed. My mom did have to come the morning of the move to help me pack, and still, I had a lot done. I had already moved some things, like a lot was done, but the sheer amount of items I had in my dorm room, like it was record breaking, I think. I literally was pushing the limit to how much you can possibly fit into a dorm room. So cheers to that, I guess. But that was obviously problematic, packing things into boxes and bags. But we made it here, thank God. Here is where it becomes not my fault. After being an hour and a half late to my scheduled move-in slot, which was between 2 to 4 p.m., we were only an hour late, sorry. We got there around 3. So I'm like, okay, easy. We have an hour to just bring things up to my apartment. That's like actually no big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal when you factor in the fact that only one elevator was working. And you're like, okay, that's fine. Like, you should only have one elevator assigned to you during your move-in. Like, they just block it off just for you. That's how it works. No, guys. All the other elevators weren't in service. So the one that I should have had reserved for me was not reserved for me anymore because it was an accessibility issue. Mind you, this is a new building, so people are moving constantly. People are moving a lot of things, and people love taking the elevator. This is like one of the main elevators in the freaking building. There was not one instance where, so first of all, 5 elevators, the same elevator, like 5 over like a 30-minute time span go by of people just going up and down. I could not put anything in the elevator because it was jam-packed the whole time. And again, like, okay, maybe we could have worked around this. Like, maybe we could have rescheduled. No, they told me when we got there. Oh, thank you so much for that heads up. So that was like problematic, obviously. And it took a long time, but I was like, okay, so since I felt really like grown up because all my family was like dealing with trying to like bring all the boxes and stuff at least to the front door of the building. And so I was like talking to the concierge. I was like, okay, so this is a problem that wasn't like disclosed to me. So if we could get more time beyond 4 p.m., that would be really great. I was much nicer than that. And he was like, yes. Like, I'll see what we can do. I was like, see what you can do. Like, we will be doing that, or else like, if you cut me off my move-in time because of something that was not my fault, granted I was an hour late, but still, it could have been done within an hour. Like, that's not fair. It did end up getting done relatively quickly because what we ended up doing is I would stay in the elevator. I was like controlling the elevator. I was like trying to really like take up space so that people would like feel weird about entering because I was like, okay, well, I'm moving, okay? You guys have to go up 1 floor, take the stairs, please. I sound like an entitled rat right now. Dipper Pines has entitled moment. But I was like, well, what else am I supposed to do? And I was willing to like bring things up the stairs even, but it wasn't allowed because there was no like padding and stuff, and you couldn't even open the door once you got to my floor. So I was like, okay, well, I'm sorry, like I'm gonna be elevator master right now. And we were still like obviously really considerate, like we let everyone in. Like I was kidding, like I didn't like just force people out of the elevator. But anyways, this is all to say that it was a process, it was a lengthy process, and I feel like that's such a hard thing. And the problem, like for me especially with this, is I just felt like I was like being the most insane burden to my family because I felt so bad. Like they're helping me when obviously like there's nothing really for them. Like I will get them like a gifts, or I'll get them gifts or something. I don't know. I'll have them for dinner, and like I will spoil them somehow and thank them. And I've thanked them like numerous times already. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, obviously family and friends you do favors for, but it's just, it felt like it was too much. And I felt like I was like being a burden to everyone. And I was like, I felt so bad. So I said, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. It was such a nightmare. I'm sorry for the back pain that we're going to have tomorrow. And I guess that's just part of what moving is like, unfortunately. There are problems but they're all temporary, and it literally is temporary. Like it was by 5 p.m. Everything was fine, but it's still like not like, it's still to say that it's like crazy. The whole thing's crazy. Obviously, a whole conversation that could be had about moving out in your 20s is freaking the investment of it all. Like let's like forget about rent. Trying to source like furniture and stuff is like crazy. And I am trying, it doesn't look like it right now if you're watching the video. I'm trying to be a minimalist because I'm like, okay, eventually, like this moving experience showed me like I have too many things, and moving it again is gonna be a fucking nightmare. So I'm trying to really keep it low key, only get like a few hundred different plates and items. I'm kidding. I'm trying to keep it low key. Like I'm downsizing. Well, yeah, I'm not going crazy. Okay. And also investing in higher quality pieces that will last longer is actually better and more affordable than buying cheap stuff. Whatever. I'll try and keep them in the back of my mind. But it's hard to source. Like I've a kitchen island now. I need bar stools because I'm not gonna have a dining table. And so that's part of my thing. I'm like, okay, well, let's start being creative. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll do bar stools for the island and turn that into the dining table if I have people over, instead of getting a whole dining table, because a dining table set is freaking expensive. And yes, obviously, like I can do Facebook Marketplace, do that whole thing. Part of me is scared of it. Part of me is like, well, sometimes it's not worth it and the pieces are actually quite damaged. And part of me is like, well, let's just avoid it entirely. I don't need it. Like if I don't need it, I don't need it. I will be needing a couch. Mattress was another thing I did buy. I repurposed my vanity into my computer desk. Like, guys, get creative. Because in our 20s, like when you're renting in your 20s, like this is temporary. And yes, you can keep your items and keep moving your items, but the less you have, the better. Because again, like every time I acquire something, I'm like, oh my God, whenever I move, like it will have to be transported again. And I'm like gonna have a freak out. Can I tell you guys something? Like this is so separate and an aside, but I was just thinking, someone commented on one of my TikToks the other day. They were like, I followed because you have such an interesting accent. And I was like, accent? I don't think I have an accent. Like, I guess, that's my fucking accent. Shut up. No, but like, obviously, like, nobody really thinks they themselves have an accent, especially if the people, like, around you sound like that. And I was like, okay, well, wait, I'm, like, really intrigued. Can you please describe it to me? And they replied, and they were like, you have a mix of a mid-Atlantic and a Californian accent. And I was like, I kind of perfectly freaking see that. Like or hear it. I actually really understand what they're trying to say, because I kind of do hear it. Like, I think I think it's just me trying to freaking talk with some flair and fun and not monotone, because people are freaking boring. It comes across as Valley Girl meets like an attendant on the Titanic. Is that so offensive? Sorry. But I get what they're saying. So yeah, that happened. And I was like, that's really interesting. I'm now going to be very aware of the way I sound in videos when I'm watching them back in editing. But I thought that was cool. Back to living on campus. Not living on campus is freaking scary. I think I think just more generally, not living in a familiar area is scary because you just don't know your way around things. Like there are certain like places on campus I'd avoid because I'm like, that's sketch. I don't want to be a part of that. And I don't necessarily know that yet in my current area. And so I can't like, who knows? Maybe one wrong turn and I'm a goner. So that's really morbid. But also true. But I actually do feel like really safe. Like here's one thing about me. I research safety, okay? I make sure that an area is safe. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't like heavily research, but I was like, I'm near my cousin and like I've never heard anything scary from what she said, so that's got to be a good sign. Generally though, I do think as hard as it is to move out in your 20s and like as much as there are so many different, stresses and things associated with it, I think it's definitely such a valuable experience. I think there's so much you can learn from it. And I think I don't know if I'd be doing this right now if I hadn't lived in a dorm room first, because I feel like the biggest barrier is moving out for the first time. And so, yeah, I think it would take a lot of courage otherwise to do so. Because it's like, it's on you to like make sure that you're securing rent and basic needs. Like it can be a lot, but I always think that it's like just go for it, just take the leap, because you can always figure it out. You will literally be in a situation where you will need to figure it out or else you're done. Like, so I don't know, maybe I'm just like unfazed for reasons that I can't explain, like literally because I just am so willing to take risks, like not like physical risks, like I'm not jumping out of a plane, like that's not my journey, but something like this, or like following my dreams, or like doing what I actually want to do in life, I don't give a, and you shouldn't give a, who cares? Do what you want to do, you'll figure it out. And everything comes with time as well. Like the things will all fall into place at the right time. So if you want to move out in your 20s, go for it. Just disregard everything I've said in this episode about how hard it is, because as hard as it is, again, like it's just worth it. At least to me, I think so. I really love it. I think having your own space is such a blessing and something to be so grateful for every single day. And it allows me to do stuff like this. Like I'm able to just record my podcast in the middle of the day and not have to worry about annoying people. So yeah, this was definitely a short episode, but that's just what I had to say about that. Full episode coming on Sunday. We will be talking about having lack of direction in your life and what to do about it, and if it's actually a secret good thing instead of a bad thing. You'll find out on Sunday. But thanks for listening to this episode of Selfish. I love you so much. Dipper Pines out. Bye-bye.